Well, it's midday, and along the way, choose Voice for Veterans. On Radio St. Pete, online, it's time for information, some education, more entertainment, and conversation. We make it fun in the sun radio at your home, office, or on the run. Explore services that help veterans survive and keep your interests alive. It's Keith the Boss of the Beach, now within your reach. On Radio St. Pete online, it's Voice for Vets. We're at your service and doing fine.
This is Keith, the Boss of the Beach, and I'm getting ready to do show number 1010 or 10 something. And of course, I'm going to say thank you for everybody listening. Keith, the Boss of the Beach, this is Voice for Veterans. And I'm broadcasting right here from Sweet 16 Studios in Tampa. And we want to thank everybody for listening. Don't forget, this is Veterans Day weekend. Unfortunately, down here in Florida, we got a storm coming. I don't even know what her name is, but she's on this way. So I am not at Atlantis University as I planned, but I'm right here. This is a special event for Veterans Day. Veterans Day USA. November 11, we know what the date is. And Act 52, 351 U.S. Code number 87A approved May 13, 1938, made the 11th of November in each year a legal holiday. A day to be dedicated to the cause of world peace, to be thereafter celebrated and known as Armistice Day. Now, several years later, Armistice Day was changed to Veterans Day after World War II required the greatest mobilization of soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen in nation's history. After forces had fought the aggression of Korea, 83rd Congress urged the veteran service organizations and amended the Act 1938, striking out the word armistice and inserting the word veterans. With the approval of this legislation, June 1, 1954, November 11th became an honored American holiday, now called Veterans Day. And that's why we're doing this special show today. It's all about veterans. We know that Memorial Day actually observes those soldiers who've fallen. Labor Day actually says thanks for the veterans who came to work and are still working. And the rest of it is still to come. Now, what do I mean by still to come? That means that right now, no matter what you're doing, you can actually pay attention to what we're doing. We know that everything that we have done is all about veterans. This is Voice for Veterans radio show. I broadcast live worldwide. I want to tell everybody, stay with us right now. We got some new people on board. We're now doing this as a podcast instead of just a radio show. So I'm going to tell everybody right now, just look at the picture sliding by in the beginning, and now you can watch me. The word is podcast. I was recently inducted into the Black Radio Hall of Fame, and I want to thank all of those who nominated me, who put me in, and especially those in St. Louis who stood tall and those in Atlanta who still stand tall. I'm down here in Florida, and I want you to know that we are here to take care of homeless veterans right now because there's a new storm coming. And I don't know her name, but I heard them name her name. I'm still dealing with Ian. And guess what? We're doing better. I want to talk a little about homeless veterans resources. If you're a homeless veteran, there are resources nationwide. But in our area, Pinellas County, and in Dade County, and in Broward County, and in Orange County, we are in Florida. This is paradise. But we do have rain, and we do have things coming along that might affect my homeless characters. Listen, you guys, get out of the weather. Find a hospital, mall, any kind of rescue place, and get out of this rain. Because homelessness did take care of one thing. They found out that all the homeless people, none of them got COVID. So staying outside, exercising, not staying in them buildings, sure made everybody know that COVID did not bother the homeless people. Less than 1% of homeless people caught COVID, so they got something that we need to pay attention to. Now, housing. Please, there is housing for the homeless. There are plenty of places right here in Pinellas County, right here in Tampa, and guess what? All over this west coast of paradise, from Zephyr Hills all the way down to Fort Myers. There is homeless places for veterans. HUD Vash, VA Bay Pines. Wait a minute. VA Bay Pines got a whole bunch of places. But we want you to know that right now you can be taken care of if you're homeless and you are in a problem of getting places to live. We want our homeless veterans to know if you want a place, fine. If you don't want a place and you want to stay under the bridge, fine too. We'll feed you. We'll make sure you can make your doctor's appointments. We'll make sure you do it. You can get it right here. We are one of those, and you got to say it clearly, these are Veteran Resource Centers. When you say VSO, it used to be from Veteran Service Organizations. It's still that, but they need to change that O to C, centers, because there's a lot more places for our veterans to get help, and they just don't know it. The main thing is that we got to now pay attention to the families. We're realizing now that the veterans have done pretty well, but some of the families have been left behind. All of the services that came for you as a veteran also have been extended to your family. That means your wife, your kids now have hospitalization. They have places they can go that they can get help, whatever it is, because they are a member of a veteran family. So I want you to remember that. I want everybody to know what it is. If you do it, just go ahead and register with the VA and say, my daddy was in the military and he fought in Afghanistan or he fought in Kuwait, because all the World War II boys are getting kind of thin. And we don't think it's too many of them left, but there are 4 or 5 other wars that went past that, and we want you to know that there is help for you. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to this program. I got some music coming to you. I want you to understand that the next segment is going to continue to be about the greatness of Atlantis University. You know, Atlantis University is a new university in the Miami area that has stepped up to the plate and now inviting veterans. And don't forget, I'm here in Tampa right now, and I want to say thank you to Breezy and all the team at Sweet 16. I've started my show here, and after 2 years, I'm back again. I love it. I'm giving a special shout out to my guy, Tim Goodrich, who's been carrying us with this show. He is an Air Force Marine, and well, I say he's a Marine because he's a fighter. Air Force are kind of flyers, but those who fight, I throw a Marine in on them. Tim spent a lot of years in the Air Force. He has kept us alive with this radio show for a long time because we're here in 96.7 Sunshine Radio, and this is live all the time, rain or shine. Sunshine Radio is 96.7 FM. I'm on the air on Saturday morning, 8:30. Tune in. But on Thursdays, I do a midday show. Voice for Veterans on Thursdays at 12:35. So tune in to us. I'm giving a shout out to all my guys at Vibes Radio who do the Caribbean side of my lifestyle, because I do radio as well. Go with me. Stay with me. Join me. Continue to tune in, because the new word is podcast. I'm still doing radio, but I see it as a podcast now. This is no longer just a radio show. You can see me if you're listening. I am on YouTube under WVETOnlineradio.com YouTube, and I'm trying to transition from using the word radio to podcast, so you guys bear with me. I've been on it for a long time, and I'm going to go over 2 things. What's going on in Camp Lejeune? If you got some money owed to you, I'm going to tell you how to go get it, and the eligibility for all of the other services that we're going to do here. Of course, again, this is Voice for Veterans, WVETOnlineradio.com, and of course the new network is ontheairtoday.com. All of these .coms and this new stuff is getting ready to go to NFTs. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but my man Mark is here, and he's going to help me with this NFT understanding, and we're going to continue on. We're going to take a break right here, and I got some music coming your way. Enjoy the music. Be right back.
It's a Kai beat.
Let's grab them sticks, we gon' slide. You mention me, you know it's time to stand that line. And when it's beef, we gon' catch them right outside. It's a lot of bullets flying, don't get hurt about your pride. My heart cold and I ain't got no feeling. And all these Glocks spent the west and they got really stingy. I heard some my head will tell them come and get me. It's gonna be a lot of bloodshed, but with on I hate me maybe cause I'm the man. You'll never understand, that's what that thing goes playing. Remember they turned their back, my head was stuck in the sand. Now I'm chasing out the bands, about the diamonds on my hand like real shit. I gotta get it, stack it, save it and flip it. Brain dead about them shit, I'm focused on the million. On all cool vibes, but don't never get it twisted. No, I ain't no friend, Lenny, but I ain't friend. Lord, I know I sinned and the devil tryna break me. Chasing at the bands, I can't stop, gotta chase it. I'ma get it in, I put it all on my soul. I'm due for a win, I put it all on my soul. When it's beef, I'ma slide, clutching Glocks for my safety. Focused on the grind, but can't let her take me. I'm gon' get it in, I put it all on my soul. I'ma spin a bean, I put it all on my soul. Walking in the rain, ain't nobody gave me a thing. Locked up in the chains, I swear you never feel my pain. Wanna bang, all my niggas play not flames. With the game, well cracking whole brain. Being down bad, I swear that's one hell of a feeling. Going outside, bitch, just so I can get a penny. Think up on my past, motivate me to go and get it. Now I'm on a now everybody fucking with me, thugging on my own. Crackers got all my gone, Angela hold on. You know I'm on my way home, put me on the throne. No more global telling telephone, it's gone. Can't let them knock me out my zone. I know I was made for this, I grinded all day for this. Lot of chain gang trade for this. It's my time, I can wait for this. Lord, I know I sinned and the devil tryna break me. Chasing at the bands, I can't stop, gotta chase it. I'ma get it in, I put it all on my soul. I'm due for a win, I put it all on my soul. When it's beef, I'ma slide, clutching Glocks for my safety. Focused on the grind, but can't let her take me. I'm gon' get it in, I put it all on my soul. I'ma spin a bean, I put it all on my soul.
I love it. All right, this is Keith, the boss of the beach, coming back with you right now. And I want to tell everybody, I want to thank you for tuning in to this radio station. I want to thank you for tuning in to this podcast. I know that it's coming out on YouTube somewhere, WVET on YouTube. You find it. We're going to continue doing it. I'm doing this. I'm going to dip my hat just a minute so you can see it. This is for Atlantis University, right there in Miami. We were trying to host a very good program. Unfortunately, the weather has changed that, so we're moving our tribute to veterans to November 18. I want to let you know right now you're invited. Veterans are invited. We're going to go ahead and put certificates and give out awards for 50 veterans on the 18th. I do apologize, it's not going to be this weekend as we planned, but we're going to have to move it. We're giving a shout out to all of my guys out there who are doing the motivational seminar, and I'm thanking Anthony and his team. The motivational seminar is going to continue on there at the Marriott. Tune in to our website, get all of the information on theairtoday.com. Believe me, all the big public speakers will be there, and I'm going to have it zoomed to me, so we're going to be covering it live all over the country, out of Washington, D.C., and out of Tampa, Florida. There is some big stuff coming, and this show is dedicated, of course, to Veterans Day, which is the 11th. You will be hearing this information on Thursday here locally, but you'll be hearing it nationwide Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Veterans Day. And you just heard a little piece of music from one of Breezy's artists. I loved it. In fact, because of that, we're going to probably end the show with another one of those artists. Sweet 16 Studios was one of the studios that embraced me when I first started doing what I called a radio show on a camera. And we brought in a boy named Rush, who does a jazz festival every year. And it turned out wonderful. It's still being on my archives as one of the shows. But guess what? It's gotten better. We now are understanding that this is no longer just what we say it is. It is now a podcast. And what does podcast really mean? It means that, guess what? You can see me. Not just hear me, but see me. Now, does that make a difference? I say yes. I got my Atlantis University hat on, and I want to make sure that the light doesn't obscure what I'm trying to say. Atlantis University is one of those educational centers that has embraced veterans. There's a lot of veterans out here who are looking to advance what they do, and we're calling it education. No matter how much experience you got, you can always be educated. And we're telling all of our veterans, thank you for what you've done. And thank you again for what you're going to do, because we need you in the community. I'm going to talk about something that I like talking about because it's called Veterans Integration Program. That means you have assistance. No matter what you've done and how you want to get back into this, we can tell you we got to have employment, support services for homeless and Army, Marines, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, and the new source, Space Force. Now, some veterans coming back out of space now. Yes, we don't think of it that way, but it is. And as we look at all the things we have to do, we have to remember jobs, including life skills, vocational guidance, training. Come on now, I'm going to talk to you about some things that you probably haven't paid attention to. Education is the foundation of growth. You cannot grow without education. You can grow a little bit with experience. You can grow a little bit with labor. But if you really want to grow to the future, it takes education. I want to read a couple more things for you right quick. Employment support services such as job-related equipment, clothing, and limited transportation. That means if you're a veteran, you're finally making that integration, that interrogation, that turn in your life, and you want to be able to get help, we got it. Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, Coast Guard, and Space Force. We want to shout out, of course, to the International Division, which is U.S. and Latin Veteran Support Embassy. My friend, Waddell McGee, is still down there taking care of it. We've gone worldwide. We found out that there's a lot of veterans from the United States in the Caribbean. They've developed Caribbean Business Network to support those veterans who still live in the Caribbean, who commute back and forth. I got all my good friends from Haiti, my great friends from Jamaica, all the ones in St. Thomas and the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic. Guess what? All of them have served a little bit with keeping this part of the Western Hemisphere in a working mode, so they developed that with veterans. U.S. and Latin Veteran Support Embassy is a part of what we're doing, and we appreciate them. And we know that they're stepping up. We got some big things coming up, and don't forget now, go to the website ontheairtoday.com and pull up what we're talking about when it comes to Camp Lejeune. We know that we're getting a lot of advertisement across the country. Join this, to go in there and look for what happened in Camp Lejeune. If you were there during those years, please call us, text us, email us, Facebook us. Let us get you the right number, the right place to go to start processing your claim to get the services there. See, we don't have anything to say when it comes to Democrat or Republican. Both of them are part of the democracy. I'd like to see more independence. To be honest with you, for years, I was an H. Ross Perot advocate. Even after he quit, I still advocated him because I believed that he was one from Texas that had reached out to try to the common man. Now I'm pushing for veterans, nurses, and teachers. Veterans first. Nurses, listen, we better take care of these nurses because with this pandemic crap, y'all better take care of them because they're going to be there when you need them. And last but not least, probably the best of all of us, start with teachers. The inside of a human being has a heart. We know that veterans had to become veterans because they put their heart first, their commitment first, and their dedication to this country first. No seconds. Veterans stand for what they did and keep standing because they continue to do what they did in the private sector. They're the better workers. They are dedicated and they continue to show up no matter what. That's a veteran. No matter which branch of the service he served in, or basically a veteran in Canada, a veteran in Israel, a veteran in Brazil, all stood for what they stand for. That's veteranization. And we have something now called the Veteran Nation, started right here in America to include all the veterans supported by the U.S. and Latin Veteran Support Embassy. So we know that it's a big thing, and we want to keep it as a big thing. Again, I want to give a shout out to Wardell McGee and them down there in Miami. I know you all are having the weather problem, and and Pastor in Palm Beach, I know your prayers are up, and I know your team is there helping out. If you have any need, veterans. I don't know what's going on, but his name is Daryl. His name is Daryl Roussan. I know he's been in Congress and stuff for a while. He stood up for the hurricane victims in Fort Myers down. I actually showed up down there and I was impressed. And I want to give him a shout out and thank you for what you've done. Thank you for continuing to support our veterans. Thank you for reaching out in the community, and you stand tall. Yesterday was election day, and I see DeSantis ran away. Charlie, you did your best. You better pray for the rest. We know that DeSantis may be running for president, but we don't know that yet. But he made his turn yesterday. We give him a shout out because he's a veteran. Navy. We thank him for what he's doing in Florida. And we're going to thank you for tuning in again. This is Keith, the boss of the beach. And I come to you right now from Tampa, Sweet 16 Studios. Last week I was in Miami, and that was Atlantis Studios. I'm headed to somewhere else. I like being on the road because the veterans are everywhere. Again, this is a special shout out, of course, to Joe Bardo and his team. And we especially want to say thank you for what you're doing to keep this radio alive and keeping these podcasts going so that we feel good as we do good. And you can see us. This is not just in the dark. Wait a minute, I tipped my hat up so you can see my face. I got my glasses on. So don't worry. It's on like Donkey Kong. Guess what? This show is done. I want to say again, don't forget, veterans, if you need help, there are plenty of VSOs around. American Legion, you know that they're still there. AMVETS, still there. Our best boys, the new boys, Wounded Warriors, still there. American Legions, still there. American Veterans Alliance, still there. U.S. and Latin Veterans Chamber of Commerce, a new one, now there. And we want to talk about all the other VSOs. And we're going to thank all the other people who support veterans too. The program is called We Support Veterans Too. You can do that. Email them at WeSupportVeterans2@gmail.com and tell them you're interested. Or you can go online, ontheairtoday.com. And of course, if you have any questions, if you're in the Tampa Bay area, tune in. Sunshine Radio. We're on. I'm giving a shout out on Saturdays to my boys at Sports Connection. Right here on the radio station with us, Mike Picard. We thank you every week. He's faithful. He's out there doing his show, and I always try to show up and give him a wave and let him know that that's some of the stuff that we do. You got to remember that Tampa is now a sports capital. We got a Super Bowl winning football team. We got the number one quarterback in the world on that team. We can't lose with the stuff we use with the Lightning because they don't lose. They win, 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 win. The baseball team is kind of but they're getting close every time. So next year is their year, and we still push the Rowdies. You made it. Keith, the boss of the beach, over and out with a shout.
Be on the big end better.
Dark side made this.
You know what I'm saying? I'll be on like, you know what I'm saying? When you just get cheated, you know what I'm saying? I don't like just a false status.
Back then it was sleep, nobody wanna see. Young just like me, with a lot of cheese. And I done f***ed around and went and found the recipe. And I done caught flight, and now it ain't no catching me. Whoa, I'm clutching tools like I'm about to be. When it's beef, you gon' make the news when I lemon squeeze. Who was me? I'm OTM from the BLEO to eat. She'll make a mess and they come lick me clean. Hey, I'm dripping sauce when I step out. Now I won't crash. I remember times I used to rack out. I'm on your ass, book me for a show. Send my check now. And for that bad, I'm about to spaz. I'm up next now. It's a lot of VVS's on my jewelry. I got your main thinking about coming screwing me. Whoa, a hubba bubba, she be chewing me. My flow so sick, and I ain't got the flow on me. Whoa, hey, whoa now. I gotta go now. Tick, tick, boom, a young off on the blow now. Remember they would sleep on me, now everybody woke now. Cause I'm finna score now. Got them like, whoa, hey, whoa now. I gotta go now. Tick, tick, boom, a young nigga off on the blow now. Remember they would sleep on me, now everybody woke now. Cause I'm finna score now. Got them like, hey, tick, tick, boom, yeah, you doom. Sweep you under the rug with that broom. It's time to eat, I'm from the trenches, I don't need a spoon. Take off jet, just like a rocket to the moon. Took me so long just to get here. Now I follow you on my back. Finna run me up $1 million. And I ain't never going back. Had to get up on my feelings. Had to go and get it back. In my city you be killing. Walk you down with no man. It's a lot of VVS's on my jewelry. I got your main thinking about coming screwing me. Whoa, the hubba bubba, she be chewing me. My flow so sick, and I ain't got the flow on me. Whoa, hey, whoa now, I gotta go now. Tick, tick, boom, when young I'm from the blow now. Remember they would sleep on me, now everybody woke now. Cause I'm from the score now. Got them like, whoa, hey, whoa now. I gotta go now. Tick, tick, boom, when young I'm from the blow now. Remember they would sleep on me, now everybody woke now. Cause I'm from the score now. Got them like,
American Veterans Alliance, WVET, onlineradio.com.
If we look to the answer as to why for so many years we achieved so much, prospered as no other people on earth, it was because here in this land we unleashed the energy and individual genius of man to a greater extent than has ever been done before. Freedom and the dignity of the individual have been more available and assured here than in any other place on earth. The price for this freedom at times has been high, but we have never been unwilling to pay that price. Those who say that we're in a time when there are no heroes, they just don't know where to look. The sloping hills of Arlington National Cemetery, with its row upon row of simple white markers bearing crosses or stars of David, they add up to only a tiny fraction of the price that has been paid for our freedom. Each one of those markers is a monument to the kind of hero I spoke of earlier. Their lives ended in places called Bellowwood, the Argonne.
Rise and shine to Sunshine Radio 96.7, Saturday mornings. This is Voice for Veterans and the rest of us who say we support veterans too. News, Commentary, information, education, music, and entertainment. New just for you, 96.7. Now, you've heard the rest. Stay tuned for the best. Rise and shine to Sunshine Radio and stay with us all day long.